Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of MoftMinds. I still go by the name of Dorian's Grave, also known as Michael. And today we find ourselves, of course, in the beautiful city of Bergen. Things are getting a bit cold outside, but to be honest, I kind of like it because then I can actually wear a jacket. I like the fall seasons better, to be honest. Thank you for tuning in. We have someone who I have been following for a bit. I've been following his work, and quite frankly, I thought to myself that, yeah, this guy for sure is one of the few people in Bergen we need to protect. His style is different. His cadence is different. The way he sings is different. His music choice is different. Just everything is different. And I actually had the chance of watching him play live at a place called Havroma. It's about 2 months ago, or maybe a month and a half ago. And he actually played with a live band, and that's not something you see regularly from artists who do the kind of music he does. But then again, no one really does the kind of music he does. So it lends credence to the idea of the originality and the splendor of the performance itself, which I got to experience. Without further ado, in the room today we have SALTI.
What's up, man? What's up?
How's it going?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Like you said, rain is here. It's getting cold. Cozy, you know.
Yeah, it's getting cozy.
Yeah, tuck
Cozy
in with the
season,
jacket.
right? Yeah, the big sweaters.
Yeah, yeah, it's comfy. I'm good, man. I'm good.
How was your Corona experience?
Oh,
to
shit.
open things like that.
Man, Corona done did a lot of different stuff to me, man. And I even caught it, too, actually, at one point. So, yeah. It started off, I was in Voss. I lived there for a minute. I needed just to get away, you know, get a break and all that. So I was living there, and then I was about to release music when Corona hit as well. So it was just a weird experience of, you know, like being locked in and, you know, not being able to go outside and, you know, these restrictions keeping people away from each other and all that. So it was just a new experience, and, you know, I like having people around. I like hanging out with my friends, you know, and I was isolated as well. So it kind of started a process in my head where I had to focus more on myself and, you know, actually spend more time with myself, which made me, you know, figure out some stuff, you know, things like that. But it's been good mostly, too. I've been just spending time, you know, working and, yeah, linking up with different people in the studio. Yeah.
Well, like you just said early on, you said that before Corona hit, you were just about to release music.
Yeah.
Did you get to release that music anyways, or did you just put it on hold?
Yeah. I released my debut project, Angels.
Okay.
Yeah, 6-track EP.
That's dope.
So yeah, it was fun.
Would you say your work process or your workflow changed after Corona? Or did you remain the same person?
No, it remained the same because, you know, I'm used to working either from home or from the studio by myself with the, I mean, it restricted the collabs a little bit because I couldn't travel, I couldn't meet people, so it kind of changed that a little bit. But I'm also used to kind of working at home for myself and, you know, being in the studio for myself because I produce also and stuff like that. So, you know, it still maintained to be like the same.
The same vibe.
The same vibe with yeah, because I was still like kicking in the studio with some of the guys that I regularly work with, and, you know, so it was, yeah.
Because one of the beauties of Corona I kind of understood was I felt like a lot of artists found that time or that space to really hone their crafts, you know, like polish things better, because Corona somehow taught us about patience.
Oh, yeah?
You know, being in a secluded room, in a secluded space, and having all this time by yourself, and of course your mental health might be going through it. Right. You know, as amongst a lot of other people, of course. You know, but it's cool to know that you still maintained your style.
I mean, I've been doing this, like, that's the way I've been working, like, since I started making music.
When did you start making music?
When I was 13.
Well, that's a quick answer. Yeah. It's like you remember exactly where you were when you started making this somehow.
Yeah, I do, actually.
Tell us about the experience.
I just moved from foster family. My foster sister's here. Actually, that's her right there. And I had gotten this permanent family that I was supposed to live with. And I've always wanted to do music, but I come from a very Muslim family, and having a very different culture and stuff like that. So I was never able to express that before I got to that position where. And when I was 13, so I moved into this family that remained to become my family, and she gave me a keyboard for my birthday. That was my first birthday there at that family as a new member in that family. And that's when I realized, okay, this is possible. And then I started at a new school in Fjall at Sotra.
1 second. Could you just let the person in? Yeah. Thank you very much.
I started at this new school in Sotra. And they had this Valentine prom there. And the music teacher for my class asked me if I wanted to DJ at that prom. And I had never DJed before, and I had never done any of this. I just barely just started figuring out, okay, I got a keyboard. I need a DAW, digital audio working space, and I need a computer. I just starting kind of to get in this.
That triggered the
I was trying to do this now, right? Okay. So I just took a leap of faith, and I was like, yeah, I want to do it, not knowing what the hell I was doing. Seriously, I'm not joking with you. And
I would have said no, I'm good.
What I did after that school day, when I got home, straight to YouTube. I went upstairs. I was like, yo, I'm doing this. They asked me to do it. I'm doing this.
Okay.
And they also because since he asked me if I could do it, he also he also needed somebody to bring equipment and stuff like that, right? Set up the whole thing,
an actual
right?
vibe.
Yeah, you need some CDJs, a mixer, speakers, whatever, right? All of that. And they had a budget for it, so I asked, we probably need to rent some stuff. So I was, all of a sudden, I became this dude where he asked me, yo, we need this, and I was like, okay. So when I got home, I started Googling and YouTube and Bergen, this, Slydlid, this, all of that, right? And I found some people, contacted them, and then they gave me a price, we arranged everything, and then they came, right? And then I asked this dude that was supposed to deliver the equipment, what kind of equipment it was, because I needed to know what the hell was that I was working with, right?
Researching that shit.
Yeah. So I got the whole thing, right? The name was the CDJ 2000 Nexus and all that, right? Just came out fresh, all that. On YouTube, Ella Skins, that's a very famous DJ who've made tutorials for years. He's one of the dopest DJs ever. And he taught me the basics of DJing. It was like, this is how you do this, and the very beginner stages. And I was like, oh, I could do that, right? Mm-hmm. And I just did the prom, man. And seriously,
to be honest, was it trash?
I mean, I don't know. For me, I was the shit. For me, at that point, I felt I did my thing, and
looking back at it right now,
people was reacting and they was having fun. They was dancing at least, so I hope I made them happy. But they asked me to do it again the year after. So after that night, I fully decided I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna become a DJ because that was the first thing I tried. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna just do this.
That's crazy. You just talked about how you ended up in a foster family when you were 13, and of course your foster sister is right here. Hi. Yeah. And you're 13 years old. You get a keyboard. Bet you didn't know how to play the keyboard at all.
Nope. No. But I used to fake I could.
Oh, fake it till you make it. All right, I see you.
Yeah.
and then you end up being a DJ. it end up in a profession where you knew nothing about, and thank God for YouTube. Of course, you had to learn your skills. But here's the funny thing, or not the funny thing, but here's what actually I caught on that was that prior to your foster home, your family actually came from Dar es Salaam in Tanzania, and your dad is from Oman.
Yeah, he's Arabic.
What?
He's Arab.
He's Arab, yeah. And then your mom is actually from Tanzania. Can you tell us a bit about that household? What was that like for you growing? I mean, being a creative person like you, what was that like for you in that space?
It was challenging because I was never understood there neither, right? Because we talked about being misunderstood and all that. Because they wanted, like, they didn't see my vision. They didn't, like, I never, like, even got to the point where I even told them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they had to find out way after I was gone from the household and all that. And that's because already from the get-go, my father was like, you're either going to do something good with your life, become a,
The classics.
doctor, all of that.
Mm.
And he was a very like strict man, and all of this stuff was nonsense to him. Girls do this, sing, the girls dance, they do that, you know what I mean? And that's what he
boys
that's
don't,
what
boys don't cry.
Yeah, boys don't cry, especially that
Boys
one.
don't cry.
No,
no.
you crying? You know what I mean? But of course, but that's what he comes from, right? So I never felt I could say that or even express that, because then I would feel like I'm disappointing him, right? Because now we're getting to that point where you don't want to disappoint your parents, so you're just gonna do what
dad.
So you're just gonna do what they want like what they want you to do. And my mom, she was like more like, she was like kind of just listen to my pops. He was like, my pops was, he was the man. So yeah, I never got to express any of that. All of the singing for myself, I did like in hiding. All of the listening to music, I did like, I had to hide, how I dressed to school before I got to school. See what I mean?
Oh, okay.
So I would dress like in one outfit when I went out from the crib, and when I got to school, I'd already pull my pants down, turn my head a little bit, put my thing. You see what I mean? I did like all of that stuff, because I didn't want, my parents didn't what do you mean, like accept that was something I wanted. See what I mean?
But that's crazy, because we talk about the case of identity crisis right there, and you're like literally in the middle of it all. In the mid, and by literally, I mean you're actually literally in the middle, because when you're at home, you're one person, and on the way to school, you flip into another person, and then you go into school, and of course, do your thing at school, and then of course your way back, I'm guessing you have to change up again before you go back home. What was this doing to you mentally?
That was the reason why I got to a point where I lost my true identity, because it was like, if I can't be accepted in my own house, like this is how I want to be and what I want to do, then what else am I gonna do? So and I got super lost. And even when you were looked at as this weirdo at school, so you gotta I felt so out of place that I tried just to fit in at that point. And I just got stuck to that. Making others happy, living the lie, basically. Right? So it got, and that's what happened to me by living that way, actually.
What was school like? Were you good at school, or were you like, fuck this, I'm moving
Hated
on?
school.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Not just because of the curriculums and like the things going on in school, but also because of like how I was treated in school.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was picked last in soccer team, like the low key stuff going on, right?
It's called microaggressions.
Yeah, just isolating a person a little bit, right? Because he's different,
It's crazy, man.
A lot of that stuff too.
But I can understand, I mean, because when I listen to your music now, and I've been listening, and I've been following you on the socials, and your style, and I must say, like, you definitely have grown, if not artistically, but also spiritually. I don't know to ask the question, are you a spiritual person?
Yeah, I practice the law of attraction.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually I believe that we are what we think,
Mm.
and what we put out there is reflected on how we are and how happy we are with ourselves. So, and we're all like connected somehow, because we're like you feel me when I speak, I feel you when you speak, right? So there's got to be something else. That's what I believe in, at least. So.
And I believe when you say that, because I don't think you found music. I think music actually found you. Because there's no coincidence when you're 13 years old, you end up in a foster home and you get a keyboard right away.
But the thing is, like, remember I said I had to hide when I listened to music and all that? Like, at home, when my parents were at work, when I got my little brother Muhammad, I used to babysit him a lot. Just holding his crib by the living room. And that was the point. We watched a lot of TV together, me and him, when he was little. And we was watching music videos all the time. MTV, MTV, the MTV days, when things were just rolling, the golden era, right? 2000 just rolling, picking up all of this stuff, G Unit, 50, everybody. And that was like, I was wearing headphones, bicycling, imagining I was living this life so far away from what I was, where I was at, because that was my escape. Music made me feel that way. It made me feel that when, as soon as I put on the earbuds, I zoned out. Nothing else mattered.
You're gone.
Seriously, gone.
That's crazy.
I'm not playing with you, man.
So but I'm guessing you were watching MTV and all this music when your dad wasn't around, when your mom wasn't around. I'm assuming that, because those kind of households. It kind of reminds me of my household when I was growing up, where like you can't even play any kind of music that's different from what the household is used to, So you got to go in hiding and do that stuff. But here you are, though. You're pre-13, of course, and with your little brother, and you're watching MTV. Who were you really watching?
Oh, that was Chris Brown.
Chris Brown.
Chris Brown.
All right.
That was my dog. Is my dog. I'm a huge Chris Brown fan, and he was like, coming up with the first singles and all that. Usher a lot, 50, Ludacris, Exhibit, Pimp My Ride, like everything. And I listen to all of these different artists, and I kind of fuck with them individually, like different, like I get this from that person, I get this from that person, you give me that kind of feeling, and and I just have a group, of artists like throughout that time that I fuck with a lot, which is 50, and
because you could like secretly wishing you could like switch lives and just be who they were for a second and escape that reality that you were forced to be in. I use the word forced because, quite frankly, you were forced.
I didn't have a choice.
To be in there. You can't just up and leave and say, bye, I'm gone,
Gotta eat, gotta live, come on, man. My brother tried that. He had to come back home because he knew
the
food was home.
How old is Muhammad?
No, Muhammad, that's my little brother. To be honest with you, I actually forgot how old he is now because he don't live in Norway anymore. But at that point, he was 2 years old, I think.
Oh, okay. Wow. That's a lot of responsibility for a young man, especially that's you, I mean, because especially if you're in a household where you really want to be one thing and you could be great at that thing. Because I never really understood parents. I'm a parent myself. I got kids. And of course, I understand parental guidance and, make sure your kids turn out great. And there's this classic movie where at the end they said, the kids turn out okay,
They'll find out themselves eventually.
100%, because parents tend to forget that. And by the way, no disrespect to any parents, and please, like I said, I got kids myself, so I understand the grinds. I understand the grind and the battle.
I can't speak on this. I'm not a parent.
No, I understand why they need to be protective and to create decent human beings. But like I said early on today to a friend of mine, parents give you life and they try to give you their life. You know what I mean? They give you life and they try to give you their life. And they think that you're going to make the same mistakes that they made. But they forget that the outcomes of mistakes are not usually the same. And what's a mistake sometimes is actually just a lesson, right? But here you are, 13 years old, you're in a new household. Okay, now you go to school, things change. You're DJing for a party, which is kind of weird. So in other words, your first introduction into music as an artist was actually as a DJ.
Yeah. Yeah. That was like the introduction into the music, like the whole music thing, yeah.
So how far did you take it?
The DJ thing?
Yeah.
I kept that going for 7 years.
Damn.
7 years. For real.
I see your fuss is different. She probably knows more about this story than everybody else.
That's for real. I've played at most of the clubs in Bergen. That's also been closed down. I was doing that for a while, man. Because it paid the bill to some extent. It wasn't like, and I got paid for each gig, and it became like fun. Like I thought I was the cool guy. Like I did it for so many weird reasons.
Name one.
Women, one. No, but for real though, I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like playing it, bro. I had my first club gig when I was 17. Imagine that.
That's dangerous.
Get me? That's a problem.
that is a problem.
Yeah. You think my foster mom think that was a problem too?
Oh God.
Yeah, she the one that had to pick me up some of the times.
Must be a very nice lady.
She is though.
Because he's damn well sure.
That's my heart. Right
he's
there.
damn well sure. If I was you, I'm never gonna pick you up.
Bro, like I even thought about it at some points. Like my father, if he would have ever like saw me at some points in that moment, like when in the clubs and all that, he would have been. I don't even want to think about the expressions. I don't even want to think about the expression.
Yeah, I think I think that would have been your last gig.
Most likely.
At the club.
Most likely.
To be fair.
Most likely.
No, but 17 years old, you're playing at gigs and it's crazy. You're a tastemaker now. Let's call it that because you tend to dictate the music people are listening to. And of course, you see what's going on. And all of a sudden, you decide and say, you know what? I want to start making the music as opposed to just playing it. When did that start?
We got to take it back a little bit because when I was 14, I think. Når var jeg med på Norsk Talent hele? 14. Yeah, I was 14. Yeah.
You weren't Norway Has Talent.
Fuck. Hold on.
This is new information for me, okay.
I was 14 and I don't remember if it was myself. No, I think my foster mom actually, no, who was it that put me on that? I don't remember.
You put yourself on.
No. I'm serious. Dead honest, bro. Dead honest.
Okay,
oh my mama. Seriously.
All right. That happened.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah.
Can we fix this? Thank you very much.
Oh. No, but yeah.
You got it? That's a first. Relax. No, din fine. Okay. Oops.
The whole thing just fell off.
Selvfølgelig. Relax. You'll be fine.
Nee. Koffers, klein. We good. Everybody chilling. Sant?
This never happened before, has it? It's like the first time ever. You okay?
Yeah.
When I put this on Spotify, I'm going to try to edit this out. And be like, should we just keep this like, you're like, all right, just let it be like this?
Why not? It happens.
And then when you're listening to it, you just hear the sound of the microphone just fall to the ground. And, like and you have your headphones on and be like, what just happened, guys? Should I just take it out and just talk? It's fine. Just give me a regular mic. If you have a regular mic, I'll just take a regular mic.
I think you could just
You just take it out from here. Take it out from here. I can take the mic.
Ja, men jeg skal bare feste.
Okay. She's pretty cool.
No,
Because
she
this
got
is
it.
like,
She got it though.
I know she's got it. She's just a bit. Relax.
It's cool.
I don't think you got it though. I think you got it now. Should I just leave it? Okay, cool.
Okay, wait.
There you go.
It's good now.
Hey.
There you go. Yes. Yeah, man.
Are we good? No? Okay.
If you don't.
I'm not going to touch it anymore. Just let it be like this, all right? That's cool. Thank you very much. Jesus Christ. Women, huh?
Precaution.
I'm
nice.
telling you, they're the future. Get it.
Cool. Nice.
So it's also like men are the new women. But what were we talking about? I think I forgot.
The Norwegians Got Talent thing.
Yeah, so you were 14 years old.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys. Shit happens. And it's crazy when we're live at the same time. So you're in Always Got Talent. You're 14 years old, and obviously you have talents. And then you claim that somebody signed you up.
No. But for real though, I think my mom did that, and she my foster mom. She joined me. I call her mom because she's been in my life so many years that I like to say I got two moms, but for real. And she joined me. She supported me through that, and I was rapping.
Oh.
On Norway's. You remember the year Snowboys was on? And Martin Hazy was also on the same year because he was rapping with a friend. He was rapping with a friend those days, and they were clicking, doing their thing.
It wasn't Dolivana back then.
No, not back then. That was before he like
branched out. All right.
And that's when I first met him there, at that thing. And yeah, I rapped, got 1X from Mia. And she said no. Alex said yes, and Adil was the one to No. It was the opposite. Adil said yes, and then Alex was the one who was like, a little bit skeptic, but he was like, yeah, come on, let's go. So I got further on with the show. I got to the dommerutvelgelsen. That's what they call it. I don't know what the English word for that is. But that's where I got to. So fast forward to what you asked me, and where I how that happened, when I started to kind of make my own music and, put my own words in it. It was, what happened at Norwegians Got Talent was like, I felt like I wasn't good enough, so I kept that like on the shelf. Even though I've always had this dream since I was, watching.
Why would you think you weren't good enough?
Because I was so insecure, at that point when you're getting these opinions and all that, I didn't feel like it was the time, and it was safer behind the desk, it was safer behind the mixer,
That is true.
So I made that choice out of fear and, and a lot of different things. So fast forward to that, I got to a point, just to answer your question, I got to a point where I was producing a track at Tune Park over at Bjarte's studio. I was producing a track, and I didn't have anybody I wanted to put on it, or I knew sort of what I wanted and how I wanted to sound, and it was a track about my father, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
your real,
my
biological father.
Yeah, my biological father. And that's when I met Patrick Brizard.
Oh, Brizard.
Yeah.
He's watching right now.
Yeah, and he came through the studio, and we wrote a track together. And I had recorded some demos before that I showed him, because I was a little bit unsure how to do things. And it was like, I knew he had a good voice, and he had some talent with singing and a lot of writing. And I showed it to him, and he was like, you should do it yourself. And I sent that demo to my manager, Alden, and he was like, yo, what the fuck, bro? Just do all this shit yourself. And that was a track called Hey Mama I sent to Alden as well. And he was like, yo, just keep doing this. And that was the switch at that studio moment where I didn't have anybody to put on, but I just had met Patrick, and he told me that, and I just came to this space where you know what? I'm gonna just record. And I recorded Hey Mama, and I just sent it to Alden, and he was like, yeah, bro, let's just do this.
So let's run it back. Let's run it back to Norske Talenter.
Please don't.
I'm trying to make to make an interesting point, because your foster mom or your mom, she signs you up on Norske Talenter. You go there, and I'm pretty sure before somebody signs you up for such things, to put you literally like a lamb to the
I wanted
slaughter.
it though. I wanted to.
I
wanted
know,
to, yeah.
of course. I mean, you've shown something in you that that led to her making that decision and saying, "Let's do it." Because I don't think she just signs you up if you don't want it to. Then it would be kind of mean, if you ask me.
Exactly.
And then you go on stage, and there you are in front of 3 people. One of them kind of knows what he's doing. That will be Adil, of course, who was the dancer guy, right?
Yeah.
And Mia, not too sure about that. Alexa was, I don't know. But you get X'd by people who relatively don't even know. I dare to say, know very little about the culture. You know, yes, they've seen MTV. Yes, they've seen Euro Rap. They've seen Eminem and everybody else. But actually being on stage and being directly influenced by such characters is a whole different story. You know, and then you go on stage and you're rapping your heart out, and that shit happens. And then what happens?
That was not to cut you off. Like
No,
but just to add on. That was sort of the part that kind of made me believe even less in myself, because the song that I performed that day, I had wrote that song myself, the entire song. And I'm not saying that. There were judges, of course. I was putting myself out there to get judged, of course. I was expecting all this. I didn't expect to win the thing. I was just hoping for it, right? And what that did to me psychologically, since I was vulnerable and I was in the mental state I was in at that point, I took that very personally.
Of course.
Right? So so that made me shut down even more. Right? So yeah, that's low key.
But that's what I'm trying to say is like you're 14 years old and you've written the whole. I don't think I wrote a song when I was 14. I'm not even gonna lie.
That's on me though. That's how it felt. I was in my feelings. So
you're 14. You're always in your feelings when you're 14.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you go on stage and you do that thing and you get X'd out, and then you become reclusive. And you say, "No, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do something else. I want to be behind the scenes instead." Why? Because the trummers.
I'm low key kind of happy for that now, because I learned how to produce, man. I learned how to DJ, bro. I did a whole lot of fun stuff with that too, man. Like,
but then when you make Hey Mama. And you get support from Patrick Bizarre and get support from Adil. Now you feel like you can make whatever you want to make, right?
Yeah, Alden he just made sure he made sure I always like do what I want to. See what I mean? He always support that idea of what the fuck I want to do. See what I mean? And I had never gotten that from anybody else. Because remember, well, like when you're taken out in child supportive services and all that, your decisions are made for you until you're 18 years old.
Oh, okay.
There's the point there as well. And when I got out of all of that and started to make my own decision, imagine what that did to my head. And so when this person comes in and tells me finally, "Hey, yo, that shit sound good, man. We should do that." Of course, I'm gonna fight it at.
Right.
Yeah.
It was the first time you felt like you were in control of your life.
Yeah, that was the first time I ever felt like, yo, this person right here, fucking believes in me. They're not just saying, "Oh, you sound good," or this, or whatever. I've heard all of that shit before. You look me dead in the eyes. You gonna do this or not?
Wow.
You want this or not?
That's crazy. No, because now you talk about child support system, social services, and it's how you don't make any decisions until you're 18. That makes a lot of sense now. You know what you mean, to get the whole picture.
The sucker part, right?
Oh my God. Okay, that makes sense now. That makes sense. Because when I spoke to you on the phone and we talked about your previous projects before, and I asked you, and I said, "Did you think you were good enough to blow up?" Yeah, that was a question I asked you.
My ego was so
Your
high.
ego,
so,
right?
Yeah, so I thought I was the shit. Like the shit. Or like critic. Like if you would have given me like constructive critique at certain points in my life, I would have shut down completely, like become super personal about it. Like it did fuck up a lot for me.
How did the audience, how did they receive your music when you first released back in the day when you did your first productions? It did get well received. Let's be honest.
That one track I released once actually got 1 million streams or something. Take Me Back, I think. Yeah, Take Me Back was called.
A million streams.
Yeah,
that's a lot of streams.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Oddly, I don't know. I didn't promote it or anything. But yeah, like the music didn't have any identity as opposed to the music I'm making now, though, because I just like I said, I did it for different reasons. I did it for it was cool, it was fun, it felt good, it was right.
It was more. Was it more like machismo, as in, like, look at me, I'm here, as in, like, look at me, I'm the guy, I'm the man. This is who I am. I've been a DJ. I can do all this shit.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not here to please anybody, fuck everybody, kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, you realize that there was no message behind it.
No message, no meaning, no nothing, and it wasn't attached to my identity in any way, like who I was and what I come from. The music, even the music I was making was based on what was trending and what was cool and what was, like, you know, this DJ's doing this, he's making this kind of music, so maybe I should do that. I was like, none of it came out of what I felt and where I was at that point in time.
When would you realize that you had to make a switch?
I think when I realized that I still had a void in me. See what I mean? It's like I've always like tried escaped my traumas and my everything that I need to deal with and tried to fill it with like almost like superficial love almost at some point, like, you know, like expectations, just putting everything in and hoping that would actually help me in any way. But I felt like I hit a wall and everything I put out didn't get the response I wanted. What I was trying to say didn't like catch on or anything like that. So and also for myself, I didn't feel like complete in the studio, or I didn't get those like. So now when I'm in the studio, for instance, I make a beat or anything, I just tick. I become this different person when I'm in that room. But before it was different. I was just working, you know, just trying to make something and hope it makes me money or becomes popular or whatever. I didn't sit there and actually think about what the fuck I was doing and why is this supposed to sound like that? Why is this here? Why is this there? See what I mean? It was very like, I don't know how to put the right word to it, but like
generic.
Yeah. So yeah,
it's generic.
Spot on. Yeah.
It's generic, and it's interesting to touch on that because I'm so happy when you say things about like there was an empty void in your mind when you made music, even though you thought that music was great, and if we roll back to the songs that you made before you, the songs you're making now, which are amazing, by the way.
Thanks, man.
We get caught up. We get caught up in the system. In my opinion, what I think is, I see a lot of producers and a lot of people make me. I've been in music for, well, actually not that long, to be honest, but I've been around music for a bit. And I see a lot of producers when they're making music, they're always worrying about how many streams, you know, or who's going to listen, or how much money we're going to make from this and this, as opposed to what are we actually making here, you know? And then you might blame the music you're making and say, okay, I was the one who made this and this and this. But sometimes I say, I don't think it's the artist. It's actually maybe the society they live in. If you think about, because sometimes I listen to Trust Issues, your track, Trust Issues, and which is my favorite track, Dope. And there's a place where he talks about fakes. I can't sing it, I'm sorry. Fakes, snakes, which I actually have in one of my songs, like one of the tracks I just wrote, same thing. Fakes, snakes, and something else. And when I listen to those words coming from your mouth, it kind of gives me an idea of what this person has been through. When you're making generic music, you meet generic people, right? You get people who come around you always
the
with
yes man,
The,
and
oh
the yes
man.
women,
Oh
and
my god.
that was like That's why when I met Alden, it also meant so much, because all of the other people I was working with and hanging around at those times, it wasn't like they just yapped along and just gave me positive. They never like.
This is jävla fett.
Ja, dritkul bara. Yeah. There was never like nobody that came in and was like, but why are you doing this? Or does that serve you any good? Or like, see what I mean? Questioning me, basically.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
It's so weird. If you ask any random Norwegian these days and ask them who's your favorite rapper or anybody around the world these days, it's either going to be J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, the Baby Kim, or Drake. Of course, Kanye West. But we'll talk about that. That's a whole different thing there. And it's ironic when we say J. Cole, for example, who just won the Lyricist of the Year award at the BET Awards. How J. Cole has been, or even Tyler, the Creator, who's my favorite.
He's dope. He's
At
crazy.
some point, he's really amazing. It's crazy how lyrical hip hop gets to be number one in hip hop, but when you now make music that's conscious, people rarely ever comment on it.
Yeah, that's because like it hits, and like you said, like Corona, and it's been a lot of talk about mental health, and people have been forced to kind of deep dive into their shit, right? And it's not to argue that people are afraid of that. I've been afraid of that.
Okay.
Because it's not everybody that want to face or hear what, because like when it hits you and you feel it and you're afraid of it, you'll be like, oh, you're shutting it down, kind of, right? Because you'll be like, oh, this hurts me. I don't want to listen to that. It's a little bit too emotional. But that's because it's hitting you. It's bouncing off you. Like, see what I mean?
When did you say fuck it? What happened to you? Something must have happened to you. Who broke your heart?
Oh, bruh. No, we ain't gonna talk about that. I ain't gonna spend no more time on that.
Not bad, huh?
Yeah, I spent too much. No, but the thing is,
You were down bad?
No. Nobody broke my heart. I was the.
You were breaking.
No. Listen. The thing is that I fucked up a whole lot of relationships and a whole lot of things around me because of unhealed traumas and like accepting my past and just shadowing everything and just putting everything aside. And you get to a certain point when you're like almost forced to turn yourself around and look at yourself because you're doing so much fucked up shit because that's how you're raised and that's what you're used to, and you project that to other people, and other people don't want negative energy around them.
No, of course not.
Right? So they gonna show to you like, yo, this ain't cool. You kind of fucking with my shit right now because you got issues, which means me though.
So you were reflecting your issues on
yeah,
them.
Yeah, and I'm not a bad person. I ain't trying to hurt nobody's, but I was hurt. So I figured I don't want to live like this. I need to flip this around. So how can I make what I felt? Because I know I ain't the only one who's been feeling these type of feelings or feeling lonely or misunderstood or whatever, all that. And I ain't the only one that's been traumatized or been through some hardship because, people do.
What about Janteloven?
What about it?
Because I always felt like Janteloven can actually be a trauma in itself.
Well,
especially when you're making the kind of music you're making. You're not exactly making music for Norway.
Wow.
Which is kind of dope.
It was never my intention to just make music for Norway anyway.
Right?
No, it's never been that.
But did anybody tell you, like, because when you're singing in English, right? You have an amazing voice, by the way. I got to give you that.
And I started singing for 2.5 years ago.
What?
2.5 years ago, I started singing.
Okay. All right.
Vilvest debut, that was my first concert.
No way.
That was my first concert ever.
I'm trying to rap. I feel like you've been. I feel like you've been in the game for a bit, right? Which you have. And then your first debut concert was just around this time last year.
2020.
Right. It was 2020, around this time last year.
September,
right? September 25th, to be exact.
There you go.
To be exact.
There you go.
That was your first concert?
That was my first concert ever.
Why would you play any other concerts before that?
I mean, I've had concerts before that, but that was as a DJ. I wasn't like singing, or I was just playing records before that. I've never had a concert where I'm singing and putting myself out there like that. I've never had that before Villas debut.
That's some impressive shit.
And I started singing 2 years prior to that, before that.
So I feel like everything is going kind of full circle with you. You know, taking it back to who you were in terms of your vulnerability. I saw the video of Trust Issues, actually, and the way it was filmed, it was almost like an invitation into a person's minds, and then literally on the next scene, there's something going on in that room. There's this guy is having a thing with a young lady, and they're getting into it, and you're just sitting down there like.
But if you actually pay attention to that video, that says a lot about my issues, some of my issues, some of my past issues. Like if you just look at the video, for instance, go watch Trust Issues video, and look at the video and just see why the guy ticks off. Why? Just like
that was you.
Yeah,
the guy was playing
you.
Right, and you just sat down there casually looking at it. And I saw that video, and it was powerful because it's not often you see someone show that much vulnerability, especially in Norwegian terms. It's usually when you watch it, I've seen a lot of videos here, and I could tell like you don't mean the shit. You know what I mean? This is just something you're just showing us for the face value or for the clicks and all that. But when I saw Trust Issues, I'm not even going to give you any credit. I'm going to give you my boy over there who shot the video the credit.
Feldman.
He gets the credit for this. He gets the credit for this.
For real though, that's my guy. And Alden directed it.
Of course.
My G.
Shocker.
I'm for real though.
I'm watching that video and I'm saying this is a guy who is actually come to terms with inviting the audience into his mind. This is what's going on.
You want to know why? Because you said music found me, right? It was like more when I found my voice, because I've always used music as therapy.
Right.
So when I found my voice and I started to kind of tap into my issues and feelings and emotions. And when I started to do that and started to use music as therapy, and that's when I also realized why music does what it does to me. And I want to give that like to the people after me and all that. See what I mean? Because if it heals, it heals. And if it helps, it helps. If it just makes you smile, okay, cool. I made somebody smile.
I can tell you mean it.
Yeah, but seriously though, because I've been feeling the same way.
For a long time.
For a very long time.
Repressed emotions you couldn't face.
Yes.
And you wish someone could actually say, hey, let's talk about it.
I have a song that's called Talk About Me and You, actually.
All right. Yeah. You want to? Should we hear it? No.
No.
Okay.
It's coming.
I'm
It's
just
coming.
checking.
It's coming.
I know you're working on the projects. I know. I'm just gonna keep it low key. So we talk about everything like that, and then I always want to ask a question: is who are your biggest influences? Which artists do you look up to and say this person influences me to the core? I know Kanye West is one of your guys.
But I would say most Kanye, actually, yeah. Even more nowadays, because I feel like I understand him almost. Like seriously, I know dude, almost. See what I mean? It's like, yo, like I feel you. Yeah, like and it hasn't always been like that because I have a whole lot of other artists that I've been shaping my sound and ear and, you know, how I approach music and beats or whatever. But him as an artist and how he puts out his art, that's why that's why he can have like 10 listening parties, and motherfuckers still pull up to that shit because
That was weird, man.
like, you see what I mean? And
Try doing that in Bergen.
like, and I truly feel him.
Yeah, I
And that's
understand.
and I kind of stand for the same. I feel, if I can say that.
What do you mean you stand for?
Like, well, like the way he like the new, when he was on all that Jesus thing, and with the preaching and all. Obviously, he feels like he's got some message and some powers of some sort, or some he met God. He feels like, but I feel like when I was a kid, and I had like peers and people I saw, like, looked up to and search for advice and whatever, I would often like be shut down or be like not be seen or heard at all. But I wanna make people feel seen, heard, and understood. And that's why I talk about the things I talk about, and I like present them the way I present them, because I want it to be as authentic as possible. And when it's that authentic, and you see like the situation in for the trust issues, for instance, when it's that authentic, like most of us have experienced it. So then it kind of hits you, and if the lyrics makes you think of something or feel something, then I've done my job. Either it's made you think about that situation, or even got that thought at all, or maybe helped you better something.
I agree with you in terms of having Kanye West as a big influence, and I am a big fan of Kanye West. Always will be. It's all good. I'm a big fan of Kanye West, and moving on to the point where you talked about him thinking he had some kind of power or something like that. I think that's where I have to interject and say that a lot of people are in this part of the world, they don't go to church, right? And when I was growing up, I went to church almost every Sunday. I was in a choir. When you came home, you listened to gospel music. Like the music he made on Jesus is Lord, which was the record before Donda. If you listen to that music, to a lot of people, it's like, oh, wow, amazing, amazing. But if you grew up with gospel music, you will be like, it's all right. Because when you listen to gospel music, you begin to hear all these sounds that are being incorporated into it. And when Kanye West goes on and makes a gospel record or goes to church to do his whole thing where they were all dressed like a cult or whatever, it's called an anointing. Right. So, this is where the culture of hip hop sometimes I feel is being misunderstood. And I feel like I need to say this to make you understand that what you went through and what you're going through, it was actually the same, called an anointing. An anointing is when something hits you. And then all of a sudden, your whole perspective on life is just flipped. And then you start searching for that inner truth that lies inside of you, as opposed to what's outside. Because when you started making music, you were looking for that validation from outside. You're trying to please these people. Oh, did they think you were? Because you're a DJ, right? If you're a DJ, your job is to make the people dance. If you don't dance, you don't get paid. Get the hell out, right? And that would translate into the music you start making, because you need more people to fuck with it. But when that anointing hits you, that stops. I'm sure Patrick Brizard is watching this right now, and he understands exactly what I'm talking about.
Me and Pat have had some powerful conversations.
and we now look at as artists. Now look at you as an artist now, when you're saying if your music can touch someone and change someone or make someone feel some way, guess what, mate? You are actually essentially the same as what Kanye was doing. An artist is actually a preacher, especially if you're trying to say something that makes sense to people. But we don't say it that way, because in this society right here, people don't really go to church that much, and the gospel church isn't exactly a thing. So we never say it out loud because people look at you like you're weird. So you never really say it. So when you talk about your music and your path and your past life and what you've been through, and we unfold that into what's going on today, mate, everything that's happening to you right now is exactly what's supposed to happen to you right now.
And I feel that way as well. It's funny that you say, like, with the last part that you said, that it happened, because somehow I've always dreamt about it. I've always envisioned standing on stage. I've always, like, seen myself in interviews, seen myself in doing all of these things. I feel like I've been manifesting since I was a child. And things have happened for a reason. I've ended up in different positions for a reason, and I've met people for a certain reason. They went out of my life for a certain reason, right? And I learned from that. I gained from that, or lost from that, whatever. It could be whatever. But I got to a point where I just realized, okay, shit. It's hard to kind of just grasp that at a point. It's like it's almost unreal for you. It's like, and I ain't even halfway I want to be, like, see what I mean? But sometimes I just keep working. I never, sometimes I forget, like, to just stop and, you know, like, okay, we're here now. Because, you know, with the AAO mentality, like, no tap on the shoulder type of thing, like, you don't need that right now, see what I mean? And it just keeps me going, you know?
It keeps you going. And it also keeps you going because, my guy, remember this, though. You're African.
Bro.
Okay?
Bro, I come from a place where they don't got shoes on their feet,
Right.
for real, though.
You're African. You came in when you were 8 years old. And it's a beautiful thing because I believe strongly that still resonates inside of you. You know, we live in a society. I don't criticize society. And let me be very clear to everybody watching this. What I try to do is we're just trying to make these disparities and see why certain people act the way they act and certain people become what they become. In Norway, we have a beautiful social welfare system. Amazing. You know, amazing. If you don't go to work, you most likely still get paid. You know, you still be fine. You'll be all right. A lot of people turn to, let me have my regular 9 to 5 or 8 to 4 or however that works. I don't understand that life. I probably never will. And they'd be like, we're fine. We're okay. If nothing happens, the system is going to catch us. We'll be okay. Where I come from, where you come from, if this shit don't work out.
You seriously, you remind me of my manager. He's like, he's like, yo, this is our lives. Stop playing with our lives. I ain't got no trust fund. Like this is my life. It's do or die.
It's do or die,
to run
man.
back to or whatever. It's like one way.
It's because Alden, your manager, he's from a different part. Where is he from?
He's from Bosnia.
He's from Bosnia, right? And it's that same mindset. And that's why mostly when I work with people in terms of music and art, I'm usually honestly trying to work with someone who's not from here. It's not because they're not good at what they do. It's just because I don't think you understand that resilience in terms of, if I don't do this right now, I'm gonna die. You know?
The mentality I got from him especially is like, you know, here in Norway, it's like people take vacations, a lot of vacations. It'd be like påskeferie, it'd be like, you know, all of this stuff, right? And it's cool. Like, that's super dope, right? But I often get annoyed. It's like, you can still answer email or like send a text, even if you're on holiday or whatever, because if you're doing something, at least this is what I think, at least. If you're doing something and you're doing it wholeheartedly and it means so much to you, it shouldn't even pop up in your head that, I'm sorry, I can't reply, I'm on a vacation. I'll deal with this on Monday when I get back, or in 1 month when I get back. Okay, so you're doing what you love, right? This is your passion. This is your dream. That's what I gained from that dude, and he was like, bro, no sleep.
It's amazing when he says that. And there's so many talented artists in Norway. So many talented people. I've seen them, a lot of them. And I always ask myself the question, like, who's going to catch them? If the guy who's supposed to be playing your music on the radio, or the woman that's supposed to play the music on the radio, is always on vacation, or can't reply the email, you know. And I ask myself, like, why did you take the job in the first place? Who put you there? You know, if you don't understand what SALTI is making, or what Black Hole is making, or what any of these other talented people are making, how about you call someone who does? And someone who doesn't, who actually, I answer emails on vacation. You know what I mean? I cannot afford not to answer an email on vacation. You know what I mean? My girlfriend hates me for it. But it's just what it is now.
It doesn't even have to be like an email. It could be like I always have my laptop with me.
Facts.
And most of the things I do on my laptop, and it's never gonna be a problem for me. Like even if I'm sitting at a bar, I could, no, not a bar, but like, you know, at a beach or whatever, just sit there and produce beats. That would be some of this. Not a bar, but let's say a beach, for instance, right?
Yeah.
Let's
Take a laptop to the beach.
Yeah. I could actually. Seriously, I could sit there with my headphones and, you know, work on some stuff with good scenery. Yeah, I could.
No, but that's what scares me, I think. And I think that's the reason why I'm having these conversations with you guys, because I think you're talented. I think you're great.
Thank you.
Right? And your manager knows who I am. I don't say things if I don't mean it like that, because it doesn't make any sense, really. I don't believe in giving people medals all the time. You need to work for it, type thing. And when I see someone like you who's actually really working to make good music and other people making good music, it kind of, I look at it as the Norwegian national football team sometimes, you know, where I'm like thinking, if you look at the Netherlands, if you look at France, if you look at all these other countries, the teams are so mixed. The French national team, for example, if no one told you, if they put a different jersey on.
I'm not a huge soccer fan, but
No, but you get the analogy. You get the analogy, right? If you look at the French national team, if they put a different jersey on, you probably think it's an African country that's playing, you know, and a couple of white guys just joined them. But I look at Norway as the same and say, I look at your team and I'm thinking, why don't you just diversify your shit? And by diversify, I don't mean color of skin. I mean diversify your shit. You would actually get further ahead. Look at London. You look at the United States. The reason these guys are popping is because there's a whole lot going on with different people bringing new impulses and new ideas. So if SALTI comes around here and say, hey guys, check this out. Check it out. And don't say shit like, nah, I
mean, if a person doesn't fuck with it, it doesn't fuck with it.
Does that frustrate you sometimes?
No.
Not a little bit.
No. I mean, because I know if it's gonna hit the right person in the end. If it takes me 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
See, that was what I was doing before. I was getting affected by all of this shit. Like, why you don't like my shit? Why you don't fuck with me? Like, blah, blah. I don't do that no more. It's
Good.
like I do this for what I do it for. And I ain't going to change because of, because of whatever. Seriously, though.
Do you feel like you have a good network or support group of people around you?
I'm blessed, bro. I'm blessed. Oh, God. Like in the team I'm working with, it's been a process, of course.
Yeah.
Because I've had to learn how to work with a team, right? I've like not being so like, you know, personal with the critique and, you know, like they're not trying to like, you know, it's been a process to like to get to know how to work with a team and how to build each other up, right? And I've just gained from that, actually. I've become better by that. Personally, musically, spiritually. I got my best friend, that's my sister right there. I mean, we live together. She taking care of me. Like, when I was at my lowest point, when Corona hit, like when, you know, when things, you know, not lowest point, like not lowest point, but, you know, when I was, you know, in my head a lot, you know, trying to figure things out, you know, and I lost my job because, you know, like a lot of others did, and I needed a place to crash for a while till I got my shit together. She's the one of the person that actually took me in and helped me out, right? So I'm truly blessed. I feel like I got angels walking around me now, like taking care of the shit around me with me and helping me grow, and
I saw that when I came
actually
to
just
Havroma.
spitting that fuel to my fire.
No, it's Havroma the other day when I was there. I remember when I came, I stood at the door, and a friend of mine said, "Oh, Michael, are you gonna get in?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna pay to get in." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Oh, but someone said it was expensive." I said, I don't think it's expensive. Trust me, when he becomes popular, then it gets expensive, Then you can complain about. Then I'll probably fight for a guest list or some shit like that.
Bro,
But I was there and I said, "No, it's cool. Here you go." And I walked in. I sat down, looked around, and now understand when I'm in a room like that. Of course, I'm there to enjoy the music, but I'm also like watching the energy around and seeing how people are like receiving the music and what's really going on. And I walked in, I looked in, and I said, "Man, this guy has an entire army behind him." You know what I mean? For a guy who doesn't do that many live concerts and go on stage and people actually know the lyrics. There was a guy sitting in front of me. He knew the bars, and I'm like, bro, like how do you know the words to all the songs? And he said, "Nah, it's SALTI. We love him." And I'm like, okay. I was jealous, man.
Don't be jealous.
Bro.
Don't be jealous.
No, it wasn't that kind of. It wasn't like fuck this guy jealous.
No,
It was more like Will Freeman was in the room that day, and I think me and Will Freeman looked at one another and said,
That's my guy too.
we were like, "Man, Will, we need some better friends, bro."
No, but seriously, it is so important because remember I talked about the yes man and the people that always just give you whatever you want and not always got your best interest at heart.
Right.
And when I started building with people that truly had that just filled me up with genuine love. That void I was talking about, remember that? Bro, cleared out.
I can see it on
that
you,
shit
man.
just cleared it out, bro.
I can see it
Because
on
I
you.
got people I could confide to now. I got with the honesty that I need without being judged, without being told I can't do this, you shouldn't do that, you should be put there, you blah. Scratch all that. They just look at me in my face and they ask me, "What do you want?" "Oh, okay, cool. You want to hear my opinion on that at all?" Whatever. Like they're my, sparring mates. Like we help each other grow, like spiritually, mentally, physically, whatever.
I can see it. I can see it.
For real.
Okay.
For real.
All right.
Yeah.
I can see it on you, and I think your whole vibe and your whole just your aura. I can feel it's like setting the tone of this conversation too. I feel more relaxed when I'm talking to you. I feel like, man, this is like going to some Deepak Chopra type thing and just like talking to some what do you call those guys who what do you call them, the spiritual guys who. The gurus, yeah. Shaman.
Shaman Durek. You heard about that guy? That dude's crazy.
Hey,
that dude was crazy. Oh, and that one Sound Guru or whatever. Bro.
The guy who's together with the princess of Norway.
Isn't that Shaman Durek?
Durek.
Yeah. I think that's him.
That's him.
That's crazy though.
Listen, that guy.
And he a brother too.
Everyone is looking at us like, "What's wrong with these guys?" Right now, you're like, it's amazing because that when I saw the tabloids first about Durek or how you pronounce it, there was just so much, there's so much like people were talking all sorts of things. And then I went on Netflix, and there's actually a show about the rich Asian kids of Los Angeles or something, and then he shows up.
Oh shit,
bruh.
I haven't seen it.
Just check that episode out. Right. This guy walks in and he says the dopest things, and I was like, "Yo, this guy's for real." As in, like, he actually knows what he's doing. He's actually pretty good at this shit. And you know why I said this now? Because I said this because sometimes your talent is not recognized by the people around you. it takes someone from the outside to really look at you and say, this guy is dope.
Oh no, all my people give me.
No,
that
no, I'm talking
every
about
day.
before, in the beginning.
Oh,
when you-
before
when
all
you
that. Oh, yeah.
When you started, right? It's a little bunch of people, randoms who just come around and be like, okay, cool, what is this? But then again, it takes one person, Alden in your case,
Right.
you know, or Patrick Brizard in another case, come in and say, this guy is really talented. Let's really screw into this and see what's coming out. So my question is, when are we expecting the new record?
I got a project coming up. New
Okay.
project. It's the opposite side of what dropped last year, which was Angels. And it's a 6-track EP that touches bases on a lot of personal experiences, and and the process also of going through different emotions and what that does to you, and also, of course, as you know now, my past has affected me a lot, and I've had to dig all that up again and sit with it, and not just let it slide. And there's a lot of things like that that's gonna be a part of that project. But yeah, it's an exciting project.
I'm excited.
And it's been a ride. It's been one hell of a ride, like emotionally. So I've had to shed parts with myself, and I've had to rethink a whole lot of shit. And yeah.
Are you writing all the songs? Are you writing all the songs on the record?
I'm 100% in on all the projects, but I have collabs both lyrically and instrumentally, and that's with different producers and different songwriters. And most of the top lines and I've done myself, and because I like to be hands-on in the project, but I don't mind that other people come in, because that can only elevate me. But I haven't always been that way neither. Like I said earlier,
Yeah, I think
that's something
that's
I've had. That's
switch.
something I've had to learn and accept that. Hey, this might if the people that we just were talking about have your best interest at heart, they're gonna actually want the best for the project.
Absolutely.
And now that I know my people everybody around me the people around me want the best for me, and I just had to accept that it's cool. Let's just it might
Absolutely.
benefit you.
No, it will. If we go back to the culture of hip hop, we make all these name droppings, all this. Anybody saw the Donda thing at the stadium where he was sleeping in this room, right? And if you every now and then on Instagram, there were pictures of a bunch of people in that room. It was like, how did these guys get in here? And it wasn't just Mike Dean on the record who was engineering the record. It was a whole bunch of people. And I always said that to create a masterpiece, sometimes you need a whole bunch of people who have your best interest at heart. Otherwise, you might get this tunnel vision and think that what you're making is the shit, and it comes out and it's like, oh,
It ain't the shit.
it's not the shit. Bro,
You're not always the one that knows the best.
no. Not the smartest guy in the room.
Nah, never.
Then you're in the wrong room. But yo, thanks for coming out, man.
Thanks a lot, man.
No,
It's been
really,
a blessing for real though.
just- I can feel the honesty.
I ain't got nothing else.
No, it's not. It's refreshing. It's refreshing. It's not like some other artists that I speak to every now and then, and it's always like this, oh, yeah, man, we're going to shut shit down, we're going to fuck shit up. And I'm like, first of all, you're not shutting shit down and you're not fucking shit up. So why are you saying that?
I can't speak for other artists, but yeah. It is what it is.
That shit is just so weird. But then they get to sit down with you and just talk like this so freely about your art and what you've been doing over the years and your childhood and to where you are right now, man.
We're telling stories and connecting through emotions. And if those emotions aren't real, then what the hell are we doing?
Facts.
Yeah.
And on that note, Thank you for coming out, mate.
Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you
Thanks
very
a lot.
much.
Appreciate you, G.
Yo, thank you guys for watching. I just wanted to say that for those who've been watching Meeting of the Minds, what we're trying to do is normalize things that we think should not be normalized. And on this platform, we talk about racism, we've talked about systematic oppression, we've talked about pretty much everything. But it's also important for us to talk about some of the things we're too scared to talk about, which, for example, a young man coming from Africa and he has dreams and aspirations of becoming an artist, and maybe he didn't know about it, but then again, when he receives the right encouragement from certain people, he actually gets to know about it, and then decides to pursue his dream. I think we should normalize telling people how good they are without thinking that they might become better than us. We see that a lot here where people are talented, are gifted at what they do, but we cannot bring ourselves into actually telling them and saying, hey, listen, you're good at this. How can we help you get to where you want to get to or achieve what you want to achieve without prejudice and without pride and without backlash or jealousy or envy? Gender or identity. So what we're trying to do is just normalize these things and see how we can support one another and maybe create a community where we don't need to go to the big man or the big woman and ask for permission or a favor, but we could look at ourselves and say, how can we help each other out? This is something I didn't see a lot of in Norway when I came here, and maybe that's the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing today. I'm not really sure, but I'm pretty sure it has something to do with that. So on that note, I want to say thank you for watching, and next Friday we'll be back with something. Don't want to say too much about it right now, but definitely we'll be back. So thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and stay blessed, stay safe, and see you in a bit. Have a good night. Cheers.